Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Jo number CFK-70 or CFK70 in a 630 finish. This is a push plate, but it has a hole in it. It has a number of holes, but it's got one real unusual hole, and there it is. So the 70 is a push plate by Jo. It's a 50 thousandths of an inch thick, which is standard for kick plates and whatnot. Although they can be done thicker, but .050 thickness is normal. 3.5 by 15. Flat plate with a hole in it that would be intended to have you put a cylindrical lock onto it. Okay. Now, there is a link below this video to a document called Template that will allow you to review the location of this hole. And let's test that. So we should be 12 3/4 from the top to the center line. That appears to be accurate. 2 1/8 inch hole. And be mindful of where it's located. So it's right in the center at 1 3/4, which means it's 3.5 overall wide. So be mindful in the sense of what's the diameter of your existing rosette. You don't want to put on a lever lock that's got a 3 9/16 diameter rose and then have it fall off. So that might be problematic, and you might get into trouble with these screws down here. But if you're doing a knob lock and you're replacing perhaps a mechanical combination lock, this plate could be perfect for what you're doing. Where are you going to use this? Well, obviously somewhere where you need to cover up existing holes in the door. I don't believe I've ever sold this to someone who's doing a new installation, although I wouldn't find that necessarily unattractive. And by the way, this surface you see is just the peel-away protective film that's there. Boy, if you had 8-foot tall doors or 9-foot tall doors and you put a nice orbit-style knob there, that might look pretty cool, actually. And people have done that in the past. My experience just doesn't tell me that I've knowingly sold this to people who were doing that. This is intended to mitigate holes in a door generally. So probably that's where you're going to use this. Okay. This will have holes in it for screws, and the screws are included. And they will be in a complementary finish and a base material. Okay. The 630 does indeed mean stainless steel, but it also means a satin brushed finish versus it being polished, let's say. Being Jo, they can manufacture plates in any base material that's available: aluminum, brass, bronze, stainless. They can do any color pretty much. Well, not any color, but they can do lots of colors on this material. Let's go over it. 605 polished brass, 606 and satin brass, 609 antique brass, 612 satin bronze, 613 oil rub bronze, 619 satin nickel, 620 antique nickel, 626 satin chrome. They don't list 625, but I bet they could do it, polished chrome. That's all on a brass bronze base material. 628 satin, clear aluminum over an aluminum base material. Then 629 and 630, polished or satin over stainless base material. There is a link below that template to the product catalog that will allow you to review all things push and pull type hardware. Flat goods is what they're called, or at least that's the section that they're in. Lots of different push and pull plates and combinations of that material. Flush cup poles, even some cabinet knobs, some foot poles as well. I'm not familiar with that foot pole. I don't recall having sold that in the past. But it's nice to be able to familiarize yourself with the other options. So if you're looking at, and one piece of hardware I like in particular is the cylinder pole that's there, the 1874. You might run into needing that at some point. Okay, where? Well, 1 1/4 hole for the cylinder. That means if you've got an exit device on the inside and you just want a nice little petite pull handle to enter with, that would be a good choice. Then you've got your, on page 10B, you've got your plates that have holes. And very helpful to be able to see the different options when it comes to that. Also, they can technically put these holes anywhere that you like, even though it would be a separate sort of quote. They can place them in the center of whatever you need. They can do different sizes as well, so be mindful of that. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Donjo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. But that full product catalog is also broken down into all of its constituent chapters, so that if you're looking for just, and if you know Donjo, if you're looking for just door reinforcing wraparound plates or latch protectors, you can look at only those sections. But review the rest of the catalog. Did you know that they make hinges or sell hinges? Did you know that they do flat goods and ladder pulls and pivots and things of that nature? Reviewing their catalog will allow you to familiarize yourself with what they do, and that's useful because Donjo is a nimble company, relatively small petite footprint within the industry, relatively small, but good people to deal with, prompt, predictable, reliable. On those occasions where they make an error, they make it good right away, and no fuss, no muss sort of scenario, and that's appreciated. If you have any questions on the Donjo, their part number CFK70 push plate with a 2 1/8 inch hole in it, or any other Donjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.